guys, so I'm going to do a note-taking video, and I don't have any notes yet for this semester because I haven't taken any classes yet, but I'm going to show you the binders I would be using and everything. So I actually made this little binder cover for physical science, obviously, and I just got like a Lily print, expanded it to fit on a piece of paper. Wrote, you know, using GIMP. I like wrote and then made it big, I don't know, and I like grew it and made the outline, and it's really complicated, but you can find tutorials online for GIMP, which is a program like Photoshop, except it's free. But I use these binders, pink 1-inch binder. I don't remember what brand it is. I'm sure if I look behind me. It's the Avery binders. Avery 1-inch binders with the rings and everything. So I wrote a list on, like, this is how I organize my notes, and this is how I would usually organize my notes if I was taking notes. I would usually have you know, dividers and everything in my thing so I can divide them up, but I will explain. I keep plain paper behind the thing. Okay, so when I'm taking notes, I usually put the most relevant stuff on the front, I guess you can say. But it's pretty simple how I do it. Like, if there's a title, and I put the date right on the right side of the paper, top right in the space. And if there's a whole title for the whole note or notes or lecture, I'll put it here, which is like how I organize my notes, which is going to be like the title of the video. So it's the title of my notes. If there's subtitles or categories beneath that, the largest title, such as like maybe you're doing Abraham Lincoln would be, you know, the main title, and then it'd be Civil War might be like the subtitle. You would put that under right above the other notes. And then if it's just block text, like a big paragraph or something, what I use is I just, you know, write everything down in the paragraph. What else I would do, if it has bullet points or separate ideas in the notes or lecture, I will separate it by bullet points. I don't know if you can see the bullet points here, but that is how I do it. I wrote everything down, what I would say. You put the date on the space, and then I would skip to the next line. And if there's a title for the whole day's notes, I put it right next to it on the left. Skip a line, and then, you know, put the subtitle. And I like putting bullet points for separate ideas. And I put, for an example, I can write about an idea supporting this category, and then write another idea supporting it on another line. And if there's bullet points in the notes, what I like to do is switch everything up. I'll show you. I'll just take the paper out. If there's bullet points in the notes, what I do is use my normal bullet points, or if I use slashes. If I use bullet points, if I use the little bullet points, I'll use slashes for the list. I don't know if you guys can see an example like that. See how I use the bullet point here, and then if there's a list, I use the slashes. And if I use the slashes earlier for the notes, I will use bullet points. So it's easier to differentiate. I don't know if that makes sense, you guys. I really hope it makes sense, because I'm showing an example here. I know everything's flipped, so if something important is said, I will put a star next to it, or I'll underline it multiple times. That way my eye will like look exactly like, oh, okay, if I see something in the margin, I will know it's important. Or you can highlight it, or however you want to do it. If there's definitions, I'll underline the word that's being defined. And here's an example of doing it if it's not in a sentence. Just put the word, underline, and then you put the definition. When you get notes and stuff passed out in class, what I do, I'll show you. What I do is get a hole punch, 3-hole punch. I don't remember, I got this a long time ago. I got this back in high school. It's really saved my life, because that way, you know, I don't always have to go to the library to hole punch stuff, and it's really convenient. You just come back to your room, hole punch it, and you can put everything in order by date or by test or etc. Which is why I use the dividers, because I can divide everything up by test or section or things like that. Such as when you take a test, everything, all the notes you took for that test can go in the first divider or the second divider. So say this was for the first test. What I would do is that you see this first divider here. I would put this, take this. Let me get this all settled up. I would take the notes and put it in the first divider or the first test, so I know, okay, that was for the first test. And then you can put everything for the second test, third test, fourth, or you could do it by chapter or by, month or however. Just separate the notes up, that way you'll be able to, keep track, like, that was on the first test, so I'll be able to go back when the final exam comes around and know, okay, this was from the first test. I will look in the section with the first test. Instead of having it, if you have it all mixed in together, it's just going to get confusing, and you'll be like, was that on the first test or the second? Because one time I did not do that with anything with my notes last semester, and I got so confused. I was like, was that on the first section or the second? And I got really confused, and it just takes if you do it at the beginning of the year and keep going through it, you don't have to spend hours trying to find your notes at the end of the semester, and it's a lot easier to study. Then, I wrote on a second piece of paper that if something is underlined or stressed in class, what I will do is underline it, highlight it, or do both. So if it's really important, such as, I don't know, like red is a primary color, what you want to do is highlight that or underline it or something to draw your attention to it, like, okay, I have to remember red is a primary color. So I would try and, highlight it because that might be on the exam, or if it's stressed, it usually is on the exam. But yeah, that's how I do my notes. These have really helped me throughout the years in high school and everything like that to keep organized. What else I do with my binder is that I usually write down I get a sheet of paper and I write on the sheet of paper and put it in here what class it is. That way I don't have to take every binder out of my stack, and I could just grab the ones I need instead of pulling it out, looking at the cover and being like, okay, that's this class, that's this class. So yeah, definitely put something on the side, especially if you have a locker, because if you put it on the side, you don't have to spend, all your time trying to find that one binder you need. So I hope I helped. That's how I really organize my notes. I don't use notebooks because I write way too hard, and if I use a notebook, the notebook will end up fattening up because of how hard I write. But with this, I can just take paper and put it in places, put notes in here, take loose leaf papers handed out in class, hole punch them and put them in here, unlike a notebook. I understand you could do that with a folder, but I feel like you can't organize a folder as well as you can organize a binder. Because you can actually put dividers and divide everything up by chapter or test number, while in a folder you just have to put everything in the pockets and have everything in a notebook divided up. But if you do use a notebook, you can get those loose dividers. I don't know if I have them with me, but they're just, the loose dividers are just this plastic part right here. It's just this plastic you can put on a page, and you can just slip a piece of paper in there saying what, test or whatever it is. But I really don't like notebooks. I really don't like using folders except for random sheets of paper. But yeah, binders are my way to go. I've been using binders since, all the way. I've been using these type of binders since freshman year of high school. But before that, I used one of those big binders because it was a little bit easier. But yeah, this is how I've been organizing my notes. And yeah, I hope you guys, enjoyed this video, and I hope I helped. If you have any questions, because I know I was kind of confused by what I was saying, leave them below, and I will answer them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.